Who is Regus Patoff? So far, theories have included everything from the devil to God to Jesus Christ to the Antichrist to AI. But whoever or whatever Patoff is, one thing for certain is I think he's quite a large dose of manipulative nightmare fuel. I'm going to analyse Christoph Waltz's latest character from the 2023 Amazon Prime series The Consultant, and I will be discussing key plot details and specific moments of this character, so there will be major spoilers ahead. You have been warned. I think that the best thing that the showrunners behind The Consultant were able to do was cast Waltz. In his performance as Hans Lander, he demonstrated the ability of being suave and sophisticated, then completely descending into a despicably evil expert in mind games. Lander is one of the century's most fearsome cinema characters and rightfully earned Waltz an Oscar. When it comes to Regus Patoff, basically imagine Hans Lander in the corporate world, because that's effectively what you get. He's deliciously bad. He really relishes in his cutthroat, unforgiving nature, and is able to psychologically worm into the minds of his employees in order for them to do his bidding. The show's timeline is at times back and forth, so I'll begin with the first time Patoff enters the featured company in the show, Compware. One day, Patoff casually strolls into the Compware office, a gaming developer. He wants to speak with its CEO, Sang-woo, though doesn't have an appointment. And what precedes is a precedent that lasts for the entire duration of Patoff's arc. He gets what he wants. He sits down in the lobby, waiting for Sang to be available. He never gets fazed or bored or agitated. He's patient. And eventually, he gets what he wants. He gets a meeting with Sang, and then gets his attention by promising him immortality. It doesn't only get Sang's attention, but the audience's. How can Patoff promise the impossible? Up until seeing this backstory, which occurs in episode 4, there's always something unsettling about Patoff. His name is seemingly an alias, a play on the term registered in the United States Patent Office. After Sang is murdered under bizarre circumstances, Patoff strolls into Compware stating that he's been contracted by Sang as his business consultant, with a piece of paper illustrating those wishes, and within minutes is taking Sang's office as his own and delegating jobs to Elaine, Craig, and the rest of the Compware employees. There's no fallout period for him here, no cooling off, no gradual integration. He doesn't even know what Compware sells, but he wants Compware, and he wants it even before his contract begins officially. It's his nature throughout the show in being able to forcefully acquire what he finds desirable that makes Patoff a frightening figure. But being able to force in the desirable is one thing. The next piece to his fearsome persona is being able to force out the undesirable. Patoff wants a smooth sailing ship. He doesn't want complications or hindrances that will hold him or Compware back, and thus he tells all employees to come into work, including those who work from home, and if they don't get there within the hour, their contracts will be terminated. This even extends to a wheelchair-bound employee who makes it to the office entrance, yet just misses the door. Patoff doesn't let her in, because why should he make an exception for her? She missed the deadline. Zero remorse. He even identifies a bad-smelling employee like a bloodhound and puts in measures to eradicate it by firing him. Elaine is able to convince him otherwise, but Patoff here is seeking perfection. He wants every single person in the workplace to be a benefit to him. He wants them to be on time, driven, presentable, determined, able to give him exactly what he wants. And if you can't give him that, you can be terminated instantaneously. This is sadly reflective of the corporate world, acting like an exaggerated dark comedy of that mentality. Human error is a thing and nobody's perfect. We all have imperfections in one way or another, yet it's those who possess the power to give and take as they please who can ruin lives. Insignificant, trivial issues which can be easily fixed are used as ammunition. You are never 100% secure in your job, and one day everything you've worked towards can be shattered like a bullet through glass. That's what Patoff is capable of. His fixed rules and perfectionism are enough to destroy livelihoods of good, honest people. Rather fitting, as Patoff isn't good or honest. Instead, what we experience of Patoff in these 8 episodes is a masterful display of how to get ahead in business. And in Patoff's case, there's bad vibes involved. Historically, and with further companies, every CEO he approaches offering his services winds up enduring a downfall. Compware isn't the only company on his CV, with Patoff later approaching Pterodactyl Robotics, and it winds up plummeting on the stock market, providing him an ideal place to go and turn it around, nursing it back to health, and getting all the glory. It's as though Patoff can charm his way into getting these contracts signed. The companies mysteriously get into deep trouble, giving Patoff a reason to jump straight to the top of the corporate ladder and exploit it for his own personal gain. Even death doesn't faze him. So long as he turns the business around and fulfills his purpose, anything goes. But it's how Patoff acts so casually which is what makes him so disturbing. Compware's CEO was brutally murdered. Many of the people in the office were friends with him. How can he get on board with them and show his sensitivity to the staff? Let's get a naked statue of Sang and stick him in the office overlooking everyone. Yeah, that'll not bring back any trauma or anything. He's got Elaine wiping Sang's blood off his office windows like it was just a food stain. He's got everyone's balls in a vice to a point where if you go against his wishes, your job could be wiped out. The office culture changes. Everyone becomes more competitive with one another, aiming to please Patoff. It becomes the law of the jungle, rather fitting considering the Jungle Odyssey game used to reignite Compware back into success. The first season pushes Patoff as a calculating dominator, with Waltz playing him with chilling abruptness. These reasons alone push Regus Patoff as an embodiment of corporate power being taken too far. That's one side to his nightmare fuel, but Patoff is a hybrid engine to say the least. The other scary part to him? What the hell is he? We are aware from a series of linked scenes that Patoff has a skeleton made of gold. He employed gold merchant Frank Flores to create the skeleton for him, and then after his big toe is severed when Craig smashes the glass walkway beneath him, Craig surgically removes a golden bone from the severed toe. This explains why Patoff has bad mobility when using stairs. But the question is, why does Patoff have a gold skeleton? Why is it when he walks past electronic equipment the colour of the lights change from blue to red? And again a colour change of blue to red when drinking in the exclusive bar he takes Craig to. Patoff has so many connections, so many things we know about him, and yet we've barely scratched the surface with him. He's a true enigma, and it's extremely difficult to tell how deep his layers go, how old he is, how many companies he's infected like a parasite, and most importantly, who is he? Regus Patoff is a man who can make you do as he pleases. He gets Craig to take him out for a beer, pretty much forcing himself into that scenario until Craig says yes. But then when Craig wants to leave, Patoff makes the plans from then on. He's unable to get away here. Patoff is calling the shots. He manipulates Elaine into objectifying herself in order to seduce her ex-boyfriend Patrice, who has been employed to help with the Compware marketing strategy of stealing an elephant from the zoo. Patoff wakes up Elaine and gets her to come into the office in the middle of the night, calling her twice with the same conversation starters until she gives him the answer he wants. He even gets one employee to drive out in the middle of the night just to get some churros. Regus Patoff needs to be obeyed, or you'll suffer, one way or another. He is the commander-in-chief, with who knows how much experience of doing what he did to Compware. And now, after the climax of episode 8, he lives on to see another day. Now one toe short, but perhaps Pterodactyl Robotics will be able to help him out there. Constantly adapting himself, upgrading, becoming stronger, smarter. Who knows when it will stop, or how many people are going to lose along the way. These are my reasons as to why I believe Regus Patoff earns a spot on our Nightmare Fuel Hall of Fame. Does Patoff deserve the spot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you appreciated this video, we'd be extremely grateful if you sub to the channel to help out our analytics and put us in front of beautiful humans just like you. Yeah, I can be charming too. Until next time, I've been Connor from Unleash the Ghouls, and we'll be back soon with another dose of Nightmare Fuel. Cheers out.